taken a little bit of work, but I think I understand a little bit more now the difference between CPA, CBBF, and NPAA in Canada. And it took a little while to look through things and find stuff online, and I eventually just called someone and finally got a hold of somebody at CPA. It happened to be the president, Ron Hache, and he was really, really helpful in clarifying things for me. So I thought I would just share that information with you in case you're curious about it, because it's tricky to kind of navigate through the information online. So what I did learn was the difference between CPA and CBBF. CPA is actually the one that qualifies you to NPC, which is down in the US, as well as the IFBB and Olympia. So if you're interested in becoming an IFBB pro or going to the Olympia, then you want to go with a CPA here in Canada, because they're the only affiliated ones with those in the North American, route for things like that. CBBF is International IFBB. So there's the difference. If you want to compete in North America, you want to go to the CPA route. If you are interested in competing here in Canada and over in Europe, then you want to go the CBBF route. And at the moment, with COVID and everything, it doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of, there aren't many shows going on right now with the CBBF, whereas the CPA, from what I understand, has about 60 shows a year, and it's throughout Canada. So lots of activity there. They have over 5,000 members, so it seems like a great organization to be a part of. And if you want to go somewhere with this, instead of just doing it for fun and for a challenge for yourself, then it's the route to go, because then you get a chance to potentially find sponsors as well. If you end up at a national event and do pretty well at it, there's opportunities for supplement sponsorships and different things like that you could get taken up with. But also to compete at that level, it seems a little bit more, you just have a bit more credentials when you're trying to help other people with training, for example, if you have your own business or fitness club or something like that. So that was phenomenal information. So thank you very much, Ron, for taking time to explain it all to me, and what CPA is and how it all works. So I also learned that there's classics, and there's a bunch of different shows, and so most of them are just regional shows, and that's just what they're called. The ones you want to look out for are like pro qualifiers, natural regional qualifiers, and Ben Wheaton. Those pro qualifiers and nationals are the ones that you can actually qualify to get your pro card with. So if I were to go to just a regional show and qualify, in order to qualify for national shows, you have to be in the top 3 of your division and your category. So if I'm in the top 3 of the division, maybe bikini, I have the opportunity then to go and compete in nationals from that date until the end of the following year. So right now it's September 2020. If I were to compete in November and qualify, I would have the ability to then use that qualification until the end of December 2021. And it sounds like there's a few different nationals. There's one in Vancouver Pro Qualifier in August typically. The Toronto one is typically in June. There's also a Canadian National Pro Qualifier in October. So there's about 3 opportunities to do national pro qualifier competitions if you proceed to that status. There's also, if you go the natural route, then you can also compete in the natural division, and there's a Natural Canada one in August, and Canadian Natural Pro, I think, in October, and then the Ben Wheaton in September. I have a cat's on the desk, so it's kind of wiggling everywhere. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea, depending on what direction. According to Ron, when I talked with him, he said that if you're doing bikini, lots of times bikini, natural, and open are pretty comparable. And so lots of people do pretty well in both divisions, so there's crossover sometimes. So that might be something to keep in mind. And yeah, I think, that gives you a pretty good overall summary of what CPA is in comparison to CBBF. Obviously, NPAA is the Natural Physique Alliance. And so I'll find a little bit more out about that as well, but that kind of helps clarify and clear things up in my mind a little bit. As for prizes and sponsorship opportunities, he says quite often people do get picked up with sponsorships, but it also just depends on your look and what they're looking for at the time and different things like that. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of information. I think it'll really help me make my decisions and knowing what direction that I want to go, just to see where it will take me. So yeah, have a great time checking those competitions out and see where it takes you.